button too.
Well, hello. Today is the Useless Ideas Podcast Day. That's right, it's Sunday. Today, as of recording, it is April 7th, 2018. It is what is essentially the last day of regular season hockey. But, with the exception of tomorrow, which is one game, but that was because of a repositioning. That's not. I don't think that's the right word. Rescheduling of a game, but that's a Florida-Boston game, which really only decides placement of Boston, I believe, depending on tonight's games, which are in the process right now, I believe. Well, yeah, they are. Tonight we'll probably be starting off with a little bit of baseball, probably.
Definitely.
Because that started recently. That was the thing that happened. As he, I believe, stated last episode that you...
Yes. I talked a little bit about that last episode. We forgot our full intro, by the way.
Hi, I'm Matthew Churchill. This is...
We made that a minute and a half before we actually did our intro. Nicely done. You just wanted to just jump headfirst into playoff hockey.
Hello, and we're not restarting this whatsoever.
No, this is all staying in. This is all staying in the podcast.
Hello, and welcome to the Useless Ideas Podcast. I'm Matthew Churchill, and this is Curtis Smith. You're Curtis Smith, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Welcome back, guys. So, obviously, as you talked about, playoff hockey is coming up really, really soon.
April 11th, if I recall correctly.
That is 4 days from now.
Yeah.
So that's super exciting, and obviously we're going to talk about that later in the show. But for now, I think we'll start with baseball because that's going to be a little quicker. Most of this segment is going to be, or most of this show rather, is going to be devoted to our playoff preview. First of all, just before we get into anything, I do want to make it just put out, obviously, with the recent tragedy that was the bus crash, which claimed the lives of 15 junior hockey players from the Humboldt Broncos. We just wanted to take a minute to send our condolences, our thoughts, everything out to the families of all those affected by that, and know that we, along with the rest of the sports world, is grieving and are with you through all of this. And we just wanted to take a minute at the beginning of the show to discuss that, to talk about that. And that was it's heart-wrenching to say the least. And so I just wanted to, again, at the beginning of the show, say that we're with you, and through all of this, everybody hurts just as much with this awful tragedy. And so we'd like to put that out there. A bit of a damper way, or a bit of a sad way to start the show, but it needed to be put out there, especially since we're talking hockey today. And I suppose with that said, we're now ready to actually get into the show a little more. So I guess we'll start with baseball. Mm-hmm. Obviously, opening day, opening week now through.
I haven't actually gotten a chance to actually watch many of the games, as I've been either watching something else or working or something like that. But the Jays themselves, as I think we've explained in our actual last full-hearted episode, that we're mostly Toronto fans through and through, right?
Pretty well.
If there's a Toronto team, we'll probably at least somewhat cheer for it, even if we don't really
follow the sport like
follow
like basketball with the Raptors. Neither of us really follow basketball, but we're gonna cheer. But I still will cheer for the Raptors, and I still want them to win.
Well, I follow it slightly more than you do, but
Yeah.
even still, not much.
No, exactly. Like, I don't really care that much about it, but yeah, for the most part, it's all sort of Toronto teams through and through for us.
Like Leafs, Raptors, Jays, Argos to an extent.
As much as we care about
and-
the CFL,
yeah.
not that it's honestly very much.
TFC, the lacrosse team.
Oh yeah, there's lacrosse.
But even still,
Mostly
mostly the
more
big
importantly,
three.
the sort of more,
The big
definitely
three.
the bigger three.
Yeah.
So Blue Jays, I think they're playing right now, I believe,
I can quick update on the
and yeah,
score.
they're doing a lot better than I expected so far. I wasn't honestly super confident that the Blue Jays were going to be a great team this year. I was okay. Yeah, I wasn't confident originally. To some extent, I mean, with 150 some odd games left, there's no real way you can tell the teams that are going to be really, really good and the teams that are going to be lacking. That being said, I do think that the Jays could start to. Oh my! Sorry. Oh, wow. So I just now saw the Matt just put in front of me the score of the Philadelphia-Miami game, which is in the middle of the 7th inning, and it is 19-1 Philly. So that was my live reaction to that. Wow.
5 runs in the first inning for Philly. And then 0, then 4, then 8, then 0, then 2.
Oh, that's a good way to distract me from
Your point?
from what I was talking about.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, like we can't really figure out quite yet what teams are going to be playoff contenders or anything. We can continue to guess as to, like continue to play paper champions baseball rather than actually see what's going to happen. But so far, I'm pretty impressed with the Jays. I'm, like I said, sort of pleasantly surprised because I didn't truthfully have the highest of expectations, unfortunately, coming into this season.
Well, yeah. Looking at the the preseason games, I was like, I think they went like roughly even in the preseason.
I didn't watch a ton of spring training. I'm not. It's not really my biggest thing. I mean, I love baseball. It's it is one of my favorite. Like, it's probably my favorite sport overall. I'm not as invested in spring training as I potentially could be or would be if I had the option really to be able to watch it. But a lot of the games are in the middle of the afternoon,
at work, yeah.
when I'm at work, exactly. So there was that, and I'm not as invested in teams or players that are just sort of
Kind of trying out.
yeah, it's sort of a tryout, and I mean, I appreciate it, and definitely it's important. It's super important to see, but at the same time, I don't really take anything from spring training, as like I said, there's so many players on each team that are minor leaguers or guys who are not who won't make any real roster and are just sort of given an opportunity, to play.
Like Guerrero Jr. I don't think he's on the main roster right now.
No, I think he's.
But he did well, I think, in the
Yeah,
first
no, definitely. I think he'll be good. I'd be excited to see him come up pretty soon. I want to see the Blue Jays really develop a lot more of their young talent and bring that up rather than just signing over a whole bunch of guys, because in my opinion we're not in, like, the Jays are not in a win now type of mode.
Situation.
Yeah, no. For me personally, I believe that the Blue Jays should probably start not really a rebuild, but retooling the roster. Change up some things because honestly, I don't think Josh Donaldson's around for too much longer. His contract's up at the end of next season, I believe, and teams are gonna pay a lot.
I think a similar situation to James Van Riemsdyk, whose contract ends this season, I believe.
Yeah.
He's putting up great numbers, both of them.
Yeah.
Although with JVO it's a little different because it's one of his best seasons and it's his last one with this contract.
Yeah.
But if Donaldson does something similar in 2 years' time,
Yeah.
then and at least
It'll
consistent.
It'll just depend on if, in my opinion, it'll depend on if Josh Donaldson wants to stay in Toronto. Because that's kind of the thing is, do you enjoy being there enough to actually warrant wanting to stay through a bit of a rougher patch rather than through, because it's easy to come onto a team when they're doing well and flying high and then, whatever, like that's not going to be a problem. A guy like Giancarlo Stanton, he won't have any problem fitting with the Yankees because, they're flying high. They're a team that's going to contend for playoff spots. They're a team that's going to contend for possibly going all the way to the World Series, So it's easy to fit in there when everything's going well and you've got a really nice pitching rotation. You've got other guys that are going to be, beside you and able to also be, hitting the long ball and getting a ton of runs and all that. That's easy, rather than if you decide that you want to stay through a bit of a rough patch where the team may not be as successful as you would think they should or want them to be. Of course, it's going to be an interesting decision because I know there are going to be a lot of teams willing, especially teams that want really, really great defender who has a ton of power. There are going to be a lot of teams willing to pay a lot of money who are going to be super close to winning World Series. And he could be the last sort of piece they need.
Like, if, for example, this is my personal kind of opinion. Well, not opinion, but the way I would take it. But if I were to be offered, if I was good enough player to be offered by one team that I currently not playing with in a postseason, saying over the next, we'll sign you for a $18 million over 5 years,
right?
Which is I think it's a decent amount of money, right? Or something for a 5 year worth 10 with the team I'm currently with that I really like being with. I'd probably take the team I'm currently in, because if I really like the team, that I probably want to do.
It depends on a lot of things, age, state, the state of the team, how, the age of the player, all that. It was it was Roy Halladay loved being with the Blue Jays, loved the team, loved the city, did all that. You couldn't blame him when he went to Philly. When he was hey, I'm going. Let's go. Let's make something happen and get somewhere where it's look, he's a veteran. He needs to go. Go to a team, deserves a World Series ring. Go to a team that can actually win a World Series rather than being the Blue Jays. That was the thing. You could I see the point of both sides. If I'm a young player and I'm enjoying being with this team or whatever team it may be, whatever team I'm on, if I'm a young player and I've got plenty of years ahead, then maybe I make the decision to stay. If I'm somebody who's sort of toiled away for my whole career, and I'm coming up on the last few years, I'm really gonna probably want to go out and get that championship ring. It just that's sort of the way I view it, at least.
It's 2-1 Toronto, if you're paying attention.
Yes, it is.
But my TV is weird. Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty snowy.
Okay. Anyway, Yeah, like going back to the JVO thing. Like if I if I were him, I don't know what his personal feelings are towards teams and other teams, but if let's say I think he's in his like mid to late 30s, I think mid 30s.
Probably.
But I probably, depending on who offers him, obviously, but I'd probably stay with Toronto
Yeah, I can see him staying with Toronto.
because I think I've heard reports of him really liking the
Yeah.
teammates, the coaching staff, the city.
Absolutely. I can see him staying with Toronto because I think it's a legit, like, Toronto is now a legitimate contender for the Stanley Cup. That's the thing. I'm going to say that even aside from being a Leafs fan at heart and being a Leafs fan my entire life, even putting that aside, I still will say 100% the Maple Leafs are a legit contender.
Within the next handful of years. Most definitely.
Absolutely. And so I can understand definitely, JVR deciding, hey, I'm going to stay with the Leafs because, we've got, like they've got Matthews, Marner, William Nylander, like all these other great talents on the offensive side. And so you can absolutely slot in there, get a ton of points to make a ton of plays, and have the shot to actually win it all within the next 2-3 years. So I don't think it's so I think for a guy like James Van Riemsdyk, I think I can legitimately see him staying in Toronto because at that point, it's like, sure, you may be getting older, but if you're playing for a team that's a legit contender, then I personally wouldn't imagine that I'd see a ton of reason to decide to leave.
Like, I think this has been one of his best years in terms of like total point accumulation, and if that's any indication, and plus our defense depth that are in the Marlies right now.
Yep.
Who have recently clinched first in the AHL, by the way.
Oh, nice. Okay, so sorry about that. There's going to be a slight issue just because my phone, which I'm recording on, gave me a little bit of a, hey, storage is full, or storage is getting full. So I just had to deal with that.
Little hiccup.
Yeah, little technical difficulties, but no real problem. Anyways, we're good to get back into it. You were saying about the Marlies, who are now first in the AHL.
I was just saying that they're first in the AHL, so that probably means they're good, right? So that probably
I would think so. That's
So,
typically how it works.
So our depth seems to be fairly good. So we have Liljegren, who we got picked up in the last draft, which should be good because he's a defenseman. He should probably be put up in
Probably soon.
I don't know, first maybe second pairing. Probably be
Yeah,
good.
hopefully.
Top two pairings. I'd assume.
Absolutely.
So once we get some, Dermott has been playing well. Hall played well in those couple of games that he was up with.
Yep.
For, we also have presumably good offensive depth for when they come up.
Yeah.
Our goalie depth seems to be fairly good.
I mean, we've got Anderson.
Yeah, we got.
So that's huge, obviously. But yeah, so obviously I'm ready to get into our the main bulk of this this episode. We're about at just prior to the 20-minute mark here. I'm ready to get into our
playoff stuff.
Playoff preview special. So as of right now, which is about 9:30,
9:20, 9:30.
Yeah. On Saturday night, we've got the East. The teams that are in are set by now, just not who.
Who are the Leafs playing?
Yeah, not who everybody, like all the matchups aren't set yet. And the West, I'm not sure if that's set.
There's still
at
one
the
more.
moment.
There's still one more.
Right. Colorado and St. Louis.
And there's actually a bunch of people. Let me just bring this up real quick.
Yeah, we're gonna get that sorted. Get that brought up,
Okay.
so that we know what we're talking about. But obviously, it can still change between
Boston,
now and tomorrow at noon when this goes up. but just so you guys are aware, so that we don't get the, hey, well, this isn't right, this is changed, this is whatever.
We're recording as this
Yeah.
stuff is kind of happening.
Yeah,
so.
exactly. It's still live. Like I said, we have we had the Leafs game on in the background on mute. But like I said, the East is set as far as teams are concerned that are in, but not who everybody's playing. So we're gonna have to see what that turns into. But we're gonna work with the sort of expected, if you will, matchups in the first round, and I think we're gonna go through a little bit of a bracket. Each of us will go through our little bracket. Yeah, hey, this is how it's gonna be at the moment, and go off of that.
Is it if the playoffs were right now thing?
Yeah, basically.
And just to clarify before we actually go into that, I'm just gonna list off the people who have a spot right now, who are clinched into a spot. In the East, in the Atlantic would be Tampa Bay in first currently, then Boston, then Toronto. In the Metropolitan Division, it's Washington in first, Pittsburgh, then Philly, and in the wild cards are Columbus and New Jersey. In the Western Central Division, Nashville, Winnipeg, and Minnesota have their spots respectively. In the Pacific, Vegas has been having a great first season, first in the Pacific, then San Jose, then Anaheim. In the wild cards right now, currently, Los Angeles, but there was the one wild card spot left for grabs, but currently, before the night's end, St. Louis has it.
Yeah, St. Louis is sitting in the wild card spot right now at 94 points, with the Colorado Avalanche sitting at 93. So, should the Avs win in regulation today, they get that final spot. However, if St. Louis goes and pushes the game, either they win or they push it to a overtime or a shootout or win in regulation, then they are in, and they've got the final spot. So I guess we'll start with that because it's the most interesting. Hey, this could still happen. Have they started playing yet?
The St. Louis game seems to be on the way actually against Colorado.
Yeah, so they're at about the 12-minute mark in the first, with about 12 minutes left in the first period, no score. Who do you think?
I haven't really paid attention to either team that closely, to be honest. The closing odds, I don't understand these terms specifically, but I think it has Colorado winning, the odds of Colorado to win.
Yeah.
It is in Denver tonight, so that probably
home ice advantage. Yeah, home ice advantage for the Avs. I personally think that the Avs are going to be able to get the win, and are going to be able to win in regulation and clinch a wild card spot, which would have them playing against Vegas in the first round. So that's my personal bet. Anything can happen. I'm sure that when I'm editing this, we're going to see, there's going to be a little across the bottom of the screen there, the results of the game, and we'll update that. But I guess we may as well. To be honest, though, for me personally, I don't think it really matters because I see Vegas winning anyways.
Yeah.
I don't. It won't really affect my bracket because I think Vegas wins their first round series regardless of whether it's St. Louis or whether it's Colorado.
Oh yeah, not sponsored, but I'd just like to point out that come the end of the day this is posted, maybe actually probably Monday, so tomorrow, there will be a NHL bracket challenge, so sign up and try to do that. I can't remember what you win specifically, but I think you
win a whole bunch of
stuff. I think you get a trip to something, one of the NHL events.
Probably
some money.
Some huge, I know it'll be a big challenge. We don't have any sponsors.
Just
at the moment.
Out there.
Yeah, just to make a clear disclaimer, Obviously no sponsor. Obviously not sponsored. In future, any sponsors that we do get, I'm going to make sure that that is super clear at the beginning of whatever sponsored segment or sponsored show that we do. It's going to be made very, very clear, both on the screen, on the video for everybody watching, perfectly made clear descriptions, all that type of stuff. So you can expect that if it, just for future. And hey, anybody that actually feels like sponsoring us, then you can always you can reach out. You can reach out to us. Probably via Twitter would be the best. Would be the best way to reach us.
Or email. Email will probably be good too.
Yeah,
Which
we'll put the email on the screen.
Or in the description.
And in the description. And just if you guys or any pieces of like suggestions for future shows, all of that, you can also comment, tweet us, or send us an email, and we'll make sure to get to it in one way or the other. So yeah, that's just our little
disclosure.
Yeah, full disclosure in the middle of the podcast. So let's get back to hockey.
Okay.
You want to start with the East, or
I'll start with the East, but
okay.
I have a couple things. I will kind of a bracket challenge type thing.
Yeah.
I will state the first round only as of right now. The current projected matchups, and I want you to say who will win in how many games. Okay.
Yep.
Starting with the East. Tampa Bay Lightning versus Columbus Blue Jackets. Who do you think in
Tampa in 4?
Tampa in 4?
Yep.
Okay. Boston versus Toronto.
Toronto in 5 or 6.
But if you were to pick one, just a
6.
6. Okay. Washington versus New Jersey.
Washington in 5.
Pittsburgh versus Philadelphia. Battle of the State.
Pittsburgh in 6.
Okay. If you're wondering on mine, I'll set mine now. Tampa versus Columbus. Probably I'd say Tampa in 5. Tampa in 5. Boston versus Toronto. I'll go with Toronto in 6 as well. Want that redemption.
Please.
Slight bit of bias here too, just to let you know.
I mean a little bit, but at the same time, I don't. I mean, the Leafs are a good team. They're a legit contender, regardless of, even aside from the fact that yes, I'm a Leafs fan.
Washington. I think it will probably tell a similar story to last year's first round with Washington against Toronto. So I'm gonna say Washington in 6.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh, Philly. I'd say Pittsburgh in actually 6. I'm gonna say a lot of 6s.
Yeah, a lot of 6-game series. Yeah, no, I figured it was gonna be. There are gonna be some series like I kind of see Tampa being a blowout series against the Jackets. I think they're a good team. I think the Jackets are a good team, but standing up to the Lightning is gonna be a hard task for any team. From either conference, standing up to that team is going to be hard because they are a legit, they're a really, really good team. And with a healthy Steven Stamkos and Andrei Vasilevsky continuing to stand on his head.
Let's see if Stamkos is ready for, because I think he got injured recently. Only a minor injury though, I think.
Yeah, but no, I think he's aces for the playoffs.
Still got a couple days to rest.
So that's sort of our first round.
For the East.
For the East, yeah. First round for the West.
For the West, Nashville versus the LA Kings.
Smashville in 4.
Winnipeg versus Minnesota.
Jets in 7.
Okay. Vegas Knights versus St. Louis. Again, just a reminder that this is all subject to change.
Yeah, Vegas versus St. Louis / Colorado. Vegas in 5 against the Blues, 6 against the Avs.
And last but not least, another battle of the state, San Jose versus Anaheim.
That's a tough one. I think for me, I'm probably going to take the Ducks on this one, and I'm going to take them in a full 7.
Okay. Nashville versus Kings for me. I'd say probably Nashville in about 6. Because I think, well, actually probably 5, actually. 5. Because I think Nashville is just, like, really good. So
they're just so good, honestly. Like, that is a hell of a hockey team. And I will say, to some extent, maybe I'm a bit of a bandwagon Nashville fan in some ways. I really have become, over the last 4 years, I'd say, I've really grown to like the Predators. They're probably don't take that out of context. It's already been clipped. It's too late. But no, over the past 4 years, I've really grown to like, I've grown to like Nashville. I don't know why, but I've just really, they've become sort of my, aside from the Oilers, my Western Conference team for basically my whole life has been the Edmonton Oilers. I'm not giving up on them yet. But I guess sort of what's become over the last few years.
Second place wild.
My sort of second place wild card team, a team that I want to see succeed, has been Nashville, and I think that's more about what it is I just want to sort of see them succeed as a team rather than I'm actually a fan of the Preds. More, I'm just I just kind of like them, and I'm sort of pulling for them to be.
Kind of like tingly feeling.
Yeah, kind of like I don't know, it's like a Cinderella story. It's, in March, it's like watching March Madness, you find a team and you're like, I don't know who this is. I don't know who Loyola Chicago is, but I sure as hell want them to be successful.
And also, PK Subban, it's hard not to like him. Even when he was with the Habs.
I like PK.
Even when he was with the Habs, it's hard not to like him,
Fair enough. He's one of those, he to me is a player that I think a lot, there are plenty of people that don't like PK. I'm not one of them. I'm a huge fan personally. Even when he was with the Canadiens, I'm still a fan.
So okay.
So those are our. I guess
I still have to say mine.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Because we got on to Nashville, I was like,
yeah, we just sort of. It's just sort of what happens sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Winnipeg versus Minnesota. I think Winnipeg will win that. Winnipeg. I said Winnipeg, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Probably kind of dead horse here, but 6 games. Vegas versus St. Louis / Colorado. I have Vegas, but at this point I think it's going to be almost a stomp too, but probably more so like a 5. Either one, probably. And then San Jose, Anaheim. I'm gonna say San Jose on this one. Just gonna deviate. Again, probably with the 7. But at the same time, I think no matter who does win that one, I don't think either of them are going past the second.
No. Do you want to do... Let's do a second round. Let's do full bracket.
Full bracket? Okay.
We're going to do a full bracket. Yeah, we're going to do the whole...
Based off
of full Monty. Based on... We're going to build our own full brackets here
boom.
From the beginning.
Boom. UC Washington too, I think.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh, Nashville, Winnipeg, Vegas. I'm just a full underline there. Because we said different things there. Okay.
Yeah, we agreed on... Wow. So we agreed on 7 of 8 series. The only one is our toss-up between Anaheim and San Jose, which I truthfully, I agree with you. I don't think either team's going past the second round, and I think it's a 7-game series. It was sort of a toss-up for me.
I just kind of said San Jose because I like Brent Burns.
I like Brent Burns, too. That's all, I like him and everything, but at the same time, I really like Ryan Getzlaf, too. So... Doesn't really matter much to me because I don't see them going past the second round.
Also, I think another reason why I said San Jose is because my secondary team, my West team, is Calgary, and fuck the Ducks.
Honda Center. It's fine. My West, like I said, my Western Conference team is the Oilers, and everywhere that Connor McDavid doesn't score like 8 goals. It's a sad life. It was a sad life for the longest time being a Leafs and Oilers fan. God, that is picking the worst of the worst. That's going, yeah, my favorite teams are the Cleveland Browns and the New York Jets because I just love to cheer for garbage teams.
Okay,
Anyways, yeah, so second round.
Do you remember how this progresses? Would it be... I think it would be Tampa, Toronto, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it would be Tampa, Toronto, Washington, Pittsburgh.
Okay.
And then it would be
Like
Nashville,
that?
Winnipeg, Vegas, other team.
Okay. So, first question, I guess. Tampa, Toronto. How many games?
7 games. Toronto in overtime, game 7. I think it's going to be a really, really hard-fought series.
Okay.
We were talking about this just before dinner, actually, because I was saying, like, they're they're similar teams,
Simpler composition.
similar compositions with some really high-end talent. You know, guys like Austin Matthews, Steven Stamkos, Mitch Marner. You know, like Mitch
Kucherov.
Marner, Nikita Kucherov, William Nylander, all that. And with goaltenders in Frederik Andersen and Andrei Vasilevsky, who just stand on their heads constantly.
Spit
And-
Nichols, too. Spit and Nichols, too.
Yeah. I think it would be an absolutely awesome series. That would be just a fantastic series to watch. I would be so excited. And I think regardless of what team wins, it's going to 7, honestly.
I think it'll also be a similar series to the Toronto-Washington last year.
Yeah,
Probably.
a lot of overtime.
A lot of overtime.
A lot of extra time needed, definitely.
Like last year, if you guys don't recall, last year, there was 6 games.
Yeah.
All but one went to overtime. But there was enough overtime periods to have 1 per game.
Yeah, it was...
There's one with double overtime.
Absolutely. I think Toronto-Tampa would be a great series and would be just fantastic. Like, it would be fantastic to watch. Super entertaining regardless of what team ends up winning. I mean, part of it I'm sure is a little bit of bias, but I gotta keep riding the train. I believe in the Leafs, and I think this could be it. As you know, the Bolts have cooled off a touch recently. They're not quite as, you know, just amazingly hot as they had been throughout this season. And I think that, you know, the Leafs are going to get a more hard-fought series in the first round against Boston.
Because redemption story.
Yeah, they're going to really be... And it's like a bit of a rivalry, but like I think they're going to get a little bit more work in and a little bit more... you know, they're going to get... It'll take a little more work for Toronto to get through, so I think they're going to be a little more ready for the playoffs almost, rather than... Because I think Tampa's just going to stomp through in 4 games over Columbus and really sort of
be slightly
still
easier.
be a little... Yeah. And because of that, I think they get a couple of days more rest, which 1 day more rest is nice, but if Toronto-Boston goes to 6, then, you know, there's... Like, you may get a little rusty. I don't know. I think it'll be a toss-up series, definitely, but I'm gonna believe that the Leafs are gonna win in 7, with probably winning Game 7 in overtime.
Yeah, it'll be a battle between well-rested versus battle-scarred.
Yeah, a little bit more scarred, but a little bit. I think they're gonna be sort of riding the excitement of winning that series through the first couple games.
Bit of an ecstasy.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I think the Leafs have a shot. I really do.
No,
So
next one would be, I believe, this has been the
This-
second round.
this has been the proven,
years.
yeah, the old tried and true Washington-Pittsburgh. I'm gonna mix it up and say that, oh yeah, no, Washington's gonna choke in the second round again to the fucking Penguins. Like, it's gonna go to 7 games, and Washington's gonna have been up in the series, and they're going to choke again against the Penguins in the second round like they always fucking do. It's hilarious. I love it.
Games?
7.
7.
7 games. They're gonna choke against the Penguins in Game 7, as they have done for the last entire existence of the Washington Capitals franchise.
If I don't think I said before, but I agree with Toronto. Probably 6-7 games.
Yep.
And then probably same thing with Pittsburgh with 6 games though.
Okay.
Probably with very similar, if not the same reasons.
Yeah.
Now for the West for the second round. Nashville, Winnipeg.
Nashville in 6. 5 or 6 for Nashville. I'm gonna say 6. No, I gotta think that the Preds are probably gonna lead their way through.
It's probably gonna be a tough hot one as well
Oh, absolutely.
because both are great teams.
Yeah, and I think the Jets are really talented. For as much as I personally would, I'd love to see Toronto Winnipeg in the Cup final. I think that would be great. I don't see the Jets getting past Nashville. I really don't see the Jets getting past it because the Preds are really, really good. Obviously,
Kicker Rene has been unstoppable for the most part.
Rene has been unstoppable for basically 2 years. It's going to be
solid defense, solid offense.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Oh, absolutely. Like, they've got some great pieces, and I think Nashville has probably, in my opinion, the best shot at winning the Cup. Oh, for fuck's sakes, Noah!
Okay, technical difficulties. Sorry about that, a little bit of a technical difficulties.
Okay, we're back. Yeah, sorry. Just got... obviously, I'm filming on my phone right now, so that got interrupted because it was getting a phone call. Yeah, getting a phone call from...
It's 3-1 Toronto. Kadri got a goal.
Awesome.
Okay.
So, anyways, back as we were saying,
Nashville.
I was talking about Nashville, and even though I'd like to see 2 Canadian teams in the Cup final, Nashville I think is probably going to be the team that really pushes through. I don't think this is perfectly centered. There, that's a little better. Anyways, so then I guess we'll move on to Vegas, and I said Anaheim. So
You said Anaheim, so you go that?
Yeah, so I'll go Vegas and Anaheim. And I'm going to think that the Cinderella story continues in 5 games.
Vegas in 5?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to take Vegas in 5. I think their Cinderella season, for me, continues.
Okay. I said San Jose rather than Anaheim, but I think I'm on board the Vegas winning. As I said earlier, that neither of the 2 Californian teams were gonna get past the second round.
I personally, one of my biggest things is going to be, I won't count out Marc-Andre Fleury, in the playoffs. He's been the guy. He was the guy in Pittsburgh for a long time prior to Matt Murray getting there, and he won a cup with the Pens.
Well, 2, I think, technically.
Well, yeah, no,
But nonetheless.
3.
3.
3.
Oh, wait, a couple years before. Yeah.
He won 3 cups with the Pens, but really he was the guy, like the goalie, who for I think 2.
2.5 seasons.
Yeah, basically.
Because I think they roughly played half. Games.
Yeah. But basically, he's really good in the playoffs. He's been really, really good in the playoffs for a lot of his career, and I personally, I tend to lean to teams with good goaltending in the playoffs. Sort of, as you can tell. Toronto, Frederik Andersen. Even if Tampa wins, it still applies to me because Andrei Vasilevsky has stood on his head. Pittsburgh with Matt Murray, Nashville, Pekka Rinne. I take the team, and Vegas with Marc-Andre Fleury. I take sort of the teams with a lot of it. I'm going to bet on teams with better goaltending, in my opinion. The same as in football, I'll bet on a team with a better quarterback. I think that's, for me, goaltending is a huge...
cornerstone.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I think a lot of the teams that get in have to have good goaltending. You know, you can look at, honestly, any of the teams that have gotten in for the most part, and they've all realistically got good goalies. But yeah, that's going to be my bets. So I'm betting my conference championships to be Toronto, Pittsburgh, and Nashville, Vegas.
Ditto.
Okay.
Most of the time we've been
Pretty well
we have
in
similar
agreement.
mind.
Yeah, we've been in agreement on a lot of our picks.
with the exception of maybe a couple of games.
Yeah, a couple
And-
games
and the one series.
San Jose, Anaheim, which is a toss-up anyways. So I guess for conference championships, Toronto, Pittsburgh. I'll let you go first on these.
This is actually kind of a hard one for me, as I think it might be for you too. Toronto, Pittsburgh. Gut instinct. Instinct. I can never say that word correctly
Yeah.
for some reason. What to say Pittsburgh, but my fandom would say Toronto. But it's kind of a coin toss when it comes to this, because I think looking at both teams, great forwards,
Definitely.
great goaltending.
Absolutely.
The only difference is I think Pittsburgh has a slightly better defense.
I would have to agree with you. I think Pittsburgh has a.
Maybe not slightly better, but like better, most definitely.
I think Pittsburgh has a better defense. That being said, Toronto still has some good
our
good
speed-
playmakers.
Our
Yes,
speed and our playmaking are really good. Toronto.
which I think the problem is for me. I think Pittsburgh matches it just as well.
Yeah. Because like Malcolm Crosby, for example.
Yeah, Malkin and Crosby. I mean, it's a smaller, more skilled team. It's not the sort of, and to some extent, I think that's the same way that Toronto is. It's smaller players, a little more, more
Agile.
skill, more agile, sort of those higher, like the higher skill cap players. Especially like guys like Mitch Marner,
Like,
much smaller player
I think
than
he's
a lot of guys, but still very agile, very quick. And that's what makes him extremely, and that's what has made him so good for the Maple Leafs this year.
Yeah. Like Leafs are smaller and quick. The only difference I think our kind of like a position to watch person would be JVR, I'd say,
Yeah, I think
and JVR and Matthews, both of them,
I think yeah,
because you gotta watch JVR when he's next to the net.
yeah,
You gotta watch Matthews when
when he's on the ice.
well, yeah, but like on the front corner
Yeah.
of the one of the circles,
Yeah.
just before the net.
Here's what I'm gonna say. Pittsburgh has the advantage in the fact that look, they've been there before.
Yeah.
They've been there before, and
But,
consistently are.
Toronto's
That
kind
said,
of an underdog.
a factor that I think we haven't, a factor that we haven't mentioned yet, that I think is huge, is number 12 for the Maple Leafs, Patrick Marleau. We haven't mentioned him yet. I think he's a huge X factor for this team in leading them to the potential of, he's got the experience. He's now somebody who can bring the experience and bring, I think, a calming presence into a locker room full of a bunch of guys that really haven't had a lot of playoff experience. While Marleau, I mean, he played 20 years with the Sharks, yeah, and he's got a ton of experience in the playoffs. I think he can. I think that's huge for him, and obviously he's playing really well.
Yeah, I believe he has quite a bit of an assist on,
Yeah,
on his name.
yeah, absolutely. He's
has a
made a
decent-
ton of made a ton of plays, gotten the Leafs a ton of points, and so I think with Marleau, he's going to be a huge X factor, and I think he could be the guy that really helps to lead Toronto possibly over the hump when it comes to Pittsburgh. I mean, and that's the thing, is he's not the flashy guy that, he's not the superstar player that Austin Matthews is. He's not the, here's this really slick playmaker that, in William Nylander, or this really quick, agile guy that gets a ton of, that puts a ton of points on the board, like Mitch Marner.
Or the
he's sort of
really defenseman in Riley.
Yeah, he's sort of, he really, for the most part, has quietly gone off this year. And I think it's huge, and I think that Marleau can really be the guy that changes the game for Toronto, as far as bringing a presence to the locker room that's going to calm them down, that will calm them. And personally, for me, I think after getting through those first 2 rounds for the Leafs, I think there wouldn't be a whole bunch to stop them.
Because I think the confidence boost that those two seasons
massive confidence boost, especially in taking down the Lightning. That would be a huge, huge boost for the Leafs. And then I think the ability to have guys that have been there before, Mike Babcock and Patrick Marleau. I mean,
to an extent, JVO too.
Yeah, but
not as much.
Not as much, but that's what I mean. Is Marleau has a ton of experience as a guy in the locker room, and I mean, Mike Babcock, of course, the best coach in hockey, has, look at what he did with Detroit for how long, he was the guy keeping them, all sort of doing everything that he did with, as far as Detroit is concerned. Like, I think that's going to be huge too, is obviously, and I think that personally for me is why I'm going to take Toronto. I'm going to take Toronto in this one, and I'm going to take them in 7 games.
And also to take into account kind of a slight bit of an underdog story too.
That's fair. And we've seen a lot of that.
At this point, in that if they make it to the 3rd round, probably wouldn't have done it that quietly, but at the same time, it's still kind of an underdog story because Pittsburgh are looking to try for a 3-peat.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, and that's the thing, is I think that, it's for those reasons, having, of course, Mike Babcock, having that monster confidence boost from beating Boston and then Tampa, and then Patrick Marleau being able to sort of, keep everybody sort of calm and ready to rock, is going to be huge, in my opinion. So I would say that for me personally, I'm going to take Toronto in 7 games. It's going to be a hard-fought series, but I think they can do it. I really do believe that they can do it. And I think Frederik Andersen is going to be the guy really who he's going to continue to stand on his head, unfortunately. He's going to see a ton of shots, unfortunately, is what I was meaning to get to, is he's going to need to stand on his head. But I believe he can. I really, really do, because this is a guy who has been just incredible this year and has led them to just, obviously a record-shattering, like a franchise record-shattering season.
Quite literally.
Yeah.
Because he won tonight. Now sole possessor of most wins.
Yes.
By a Leafs goalie.
And that means
Raycroft is no longer...
Andrew Raycroft is out of the record books. Finally.
Although it also means that Belfour...
now he's second, but still, more importantly, Raycroft is out of the record books. Okay. That's the thing. I'm gonna take Toronto to win in 7 games.
Win the East.
To win the East and move on
to the Stanley Cup Finals.
To the Stanley Cup.
Okay, so for the West, it would be presumably from.
Of course.
Okay.
Sorry about that. So, anyways,
Nashville versus Vegas for the West. Sorry, as I was saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nashville versus Vegas. This is where Vegas, I think this is where Vegas, unfortunately, their Cinderella story comes to an end for me. I'm gonna keep riding the train with Smashville. They're gonna be the guys that, for me, I think they go back to the Cup. I think they have the opportunity, to go back and possibly change it. So I'm gonna bet that Nashville takes it, and they are going to take it, I think, in 6 games, and they go back to the Stanley Cup final.
I'd say the same, for a large part reason to kind of avenge themselves from last year.
I think they're just... on paper, I mean, on paper, I think they're a better team. I think they're a more complete team, a more
Better knit.
yeah,
I guess.
definitely. I think they have better chemistry. Like, obviously, I'm not taking anything away from Vegas. They have done absolutely incredible and have just been mind-boggling with how good they've been able to be. That being said, I don't know when it's going to come to the playoffs. And I don't know when it's going to be in such a tough... Nashville's a tough place to play because those fans have been crazy. So I would think that, honestly, this is where, unfortunately, Vegas, their Cinderella story comes to an end. So...
Not kind of predictable here, but yeah, I'd say Nashville as well. Big shocker, I agree with Curtis.
yeah.
I'd say that for large part, same reasons. But yeah, I think it would be a very hard part series. But it'll probably come down to the fact that it's Vegas's first year.
Yeah.
Yes, they've been playing together all season, so which is something.
Yeah, they're getting more time.
But at the same time, it's still only the first season, so it's only been 82 games.
Yeah.
Or if they make it up to here, minimum an extra 12 on top of that. Oh, sorry. Yeah, minimum extra 12.
Eight games. Minimum of 8 more games that they'd be up to, because they'd have 2 rounds prior to playing Nashville.
I know, prior to Nashville, but including Nashville, minimum. Well, yeah,
yes.
Into Nashville, yeah.
Into Nashville, they'd only have had 90 games together, which is, it's a lot and everything, but at the same time, a lot of the guys on the Preds have had, multiple seasons together.
Yeah.
Plus plus a super deep playoff run last year. It's going to be hard for any team, honestly, to beat the Preds is going to be really, really hard. Which leads into my, and I guess your prediction for the Stanley Cup final, which I have Toronto versus Nashville.
Yep.
And you took, so in 7, I'm guessing, over the Pens for you, for the Leafs?
Probably, yeah. 7 games will be, again, a hard-fought one.
Yeah.
Hard-fought. Toronto, Pittsburgh will be a tough one. I take Toronto as well. But just I think to an extent, they will probably underestimate Toronto. To an extent.
No, I can see that. I can see sort of underestimating Toronto, especially maybe not from some players, but others I can see sort of underestimating Toronto, and certainly Pens fans would underestimate Toronto. But I don't think that it'll be interesting. Regardless of what happens, it'll be really, really tough.
And I take Nashville as well, probably in 7, I think.
Okay.
Again, a hard-fought one. I think they'll probably the first game. This will probably go into a little too much detail here.
Yeah.
But in the first game between the Nashville, Vegas, I think Vegas is going to take the first one by a decent bit, probably like a 5-2 or something like that.
Yeah.
But then after that, Nashville kind of wakes up and just goes.
Yeah, and just sort of goes, all right. No,
Yeah.
let's step up and let's play like the team that they can. Just sort of rolls over the Knights.
So the finals for the Cup: Toronto v Nashville. Before we actually go into a prediction for this,
Yep.
let's say Toronto actually we predicted correctly and Toronto makes it all the way through. What Western team, I'm assuming including Nashville, because you probably want to say Nashville as well, who would you want to see Toronto face, just as a dream match?
Winnipeg.
Winnipeg?
I want Winnipeg personally. That's the team that I'd like to see them play because I think it would be great to have 2 Canadian teams in the Cup final. That would be awesome. The team that I reasonably think is going to go is Nashville, and hence why I've picked them. And I'd like to see Nashville there as well to some extent. I think that, and I wouldn't be upset to see Vegas. I really wouldn't. That said, I think the 2 teams that I want most would be Nashville, Winnipeg. Nashville because, like I said, I've sort of developed a soft spot over the past few seasons for them. and and I sort of push for them. And Winnipeg, because it would be just awesome to see two Canadian teams duking it out for, for Lord Stanley's Cup. I think that would be awesome.
Because I don't think a Canadian team has won it since the 90s, I don't think, right? Oh,
They have to have. There has to. Yeah. The Sens won it. Didn't they? Didn't the Sens win it at one point?
Let me just Google this.
Yeah, I'll let you pull that up. But
Stanley.
So I'll keep. No, that's personally for me at least why I want the Jets to be back in. To go all the way to the finals. Wow.
Nope, none since the 90s. Because since 2000, Devils, Avalanche, Red Wings, Devils, again, Tampa, Hurricanes, Ducks, Red Wings, Penguins, Blackhawks, Bruins, fuck the Bruins,
Yeah.
Kings, Blackhawks, Kings, Blackhawks, Penguins.
Okay. Wow. So when was it? If you want to just keep scrolling, when was the last time? 1993 for the Montreal Canadiens. Wow, that is awful.
And then the last before that would be the Oilers in 90,
Flames
in 89, and then Oilers in 88.
Wow. So
Islanders, Canadians. Flyers,
Wow.
Canadians, Bruins, Canadians. Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Wow. Anyways, so obviously it's been a long time coming for a Canadian team to win the Cup, and I think it's gonna be one more year.
Nashville?
Yeah.
Okay.
I gotta take Nashville. I think Nashville wins in 7.
Yeah.
It's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt me so much if I'm right on this. I think it's gonna be one more year for a Canadian team to win the Cup. Well, I want the Leafs to. I want to be proven wrong on this pick so badly, more than anything. I want to be wrong, but I think Nashville's going to do it. I really do. I think Nashville's going to be the team that is going to. They're going to get redemption for last year. They're going to be able to win the Cup. And we are going to go through one more year of misery before the Leafs can finally break the curse and win a cup.
Well,
it's hard. I really want to be wrong, and I really want the Leafs to win, but I think the Preds in 7.
well, this is kind of a weak reason for this, I think. Kind of a weak reason. But I will actually disagree with you. Kind of a weak reason. But the 2 games, if I recall correctly, the 2 games that Toronto has played against them this year,
Yeah,
I believe Toronto won. By decent margins, both years.
definitely. The last time the last time Toronto played Nashville, I think they lit up Pekka Rinne for 5 or 6 goals.
I think it was a 5-1, 4-1, something like that.
Yeah, I think it might have been 5-2, but either way, they definitely, they were putting pucks in the back of the net.
But but it's not 7 games, but I think 6 at the very least.
Oh, I think it'll go to 7, regardless of who wins. I hope so badly to be wrong, but I'm gonna take the Preds to win it, and the Leafs are gonna have to just wait one more year. It's awful. I'm not happy about it. But unfortunately, I think Nashville is the team that's gonna win.
Okay.
Keep talking. I'll be back in 1 second.
Okay, so that is our predictions for right now. We'll continue talking about that in a couple seconds. But yeah, as I kind of half-assed mentioned earlier, Toronto won their last game against Montreal Canadiens. They won 4-2 in regulation, obviously. But as I said, Anderson now has the sole possession for most wins by a Toronto team goalie.
Yeah. In a single season.
In a single season, yes. And at the same time, Toronto as a team has now the most points as an organization ever.
In the history of the Toronto Maple Leafs, which is
105 points.
Yeah, and almost that many years that the Leafs have existed.
So that on its own deserves a lot of merit, I think, for the team.
Absolutely. And walking in at the moment is a very sad Canucks fan.
Fuck it off.
Oh, it's a sad life for you having to be a Canucks fan, isn't it?
Yeah, well, the Sedins are gone.
Yeah, I
So,
know.
Sad, but I'm glad their last game at least had a good send off. 33 seconds into the second,
Something like that, and then like
Henrik
overtime or
Cadeno,
whatever.
Then game winner.
Yeah.
Again, Henrik Cadeno.
So I'm going to turn this around on you. That is one of our other super close friends. Want to introduce yourself?
Noah. I have nothing to say, nothing to do. So,
But you're here now. So congratulations. Welcome to the show. I'm going to move this back to us while we wrap up this episode. Okay.
So
That's gonna be. Okay. Anyways, we're good now.
Um,
So that pretty well wraps up, I think, our playoff preview episode of the show.
again, subject to change with a couple of
Yeah,
uh,
depending on just subject to change based on St. Louis and Colorado.
and Toronto's opponents too. I think it might change.
Yeah, that could change between.
Tampa and Boston.
Yeah,
But either way, I think our predictions
I'm
would
gonna
probably
maintain
be
it
similar.
the same way. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's gonna be it. So even though we agreed on most every pick when it came to the cup, we
Came down to-
actually disagreed.
Mm.
So yeah, that's gonna be pretty well it for today's episode. So I'm gonna wrap it up here and say thank you guys for watching. As always, you can find us on Twitter at Curtis Smitty and at DravardMC. You can follow us there. Like I said, any episode ideas that you have for the future, leave in the comments or tweet them to us, and we'll be sure to get back to you guys.
As always, this is the Useless Ideas Podcast. Thank you for watching and take care.